So good evening. We are live here on TAPP Talk number 75. And tonight we've got Rebecca from Rebecca's Lifestyle. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm well. How are you, Phil?
All right, thank you. And what we're going to do is we're going to chat about Rebecca and your sustainable journey and all sorts of things like that. And all the travels that you've done and things like that. And then we're going to sort of end up talking a bit about the BottlePro with and how that worked out for you, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
thank you so much for having me here. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure to share my sustainability journey. I think that the more we speak about it, the more people maybe will have some questions. Maybe they will start to adopt it into their daily lives. And really, that is our goal, both of us. So hopefully, we'll get you on this sustainability train as well with us.
Absolutely. So if anyone who is watching, if you've got any questions or anything like that, if you'd like to put them in the comments box on whatever platform you're on, because we are live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all sorts of things. So if there are any questions, just pop them in the box and then we'll be able to come to them then. So, and if you're catching the recording, then please do subscribe to Rebecca on Instagram at Rebecca's Lifestyle with the underscore at the end, and also to TAPP Water Malta on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or wherever you're watching it. Okay, so Rebecca, what inspired you originally to start this journey in sustainability?
Well, I was very lucky that growing up, I was always very environmentally minded, if you can say that. I remember learning about it at school and all of that. So really, it started from there, I would say. So like learning about the harm that we've done to the earth, unfortunately, throughout the decades. And then just putting it into practice made me feel that, okay, great, I'm doing something good for the earth and I'm leaving a better future, hopefully. And then obviously, as I started to grow older, I tried to start searching on how I can lead a more sustainable life, not just by simply, I don't know, recycling or reusing items or repurposing items instead of throwing them away, but on a further level, so to say. And obviously, when I grew up a little bit more, I tried to start convincing those around me. My family members, unfortunately, they weren't on the train immediately. They had a couple of halts, like, hey, listen, what is this? Like, this is the way we do things. But I'm happy to say that I'm converting them as well. So basically, in reality, like to just sum it all up, the way that I started was because I want to leave a better tomorrow instead of, continuing this very vicious cycle of creating really harmful things for the earth. So that's it for my end.
So why is it important in the first place? Because I think sometimes we see a lot of people talking about sustainability now, but I'm not sure that the message about what the impact is really always gets through. Maybe we've almost become immune to it or blasé about it, and we forget that it's actually important. So why do you think that it's important for people to actually try and just do something?
Because if it's just me, okay, I'm doing a difference. But if it's all of us together, we're going to make an even bigger impact. And what this impact is a healthier earth, because I don't know how many times I've seen on the news, online, on scientific websites and all that, plastic is everywhere, literally everywhere. And it's just so scary to me how at this very moment somebody out there is probably eating plastic, for example, or like, I don't know, drinking out of a plastic bottle, but at the same time like ingesting those toxins, which are absolutely nasty. So really and truly, these are one of the few reasons why we should start taking a couple of steps. You know what I mean? Baby steps, you'll get there, but you know what I mean? Like, start making a difference. And in reality, this will lead to a better future for future generations. They will not have to find, I don't know, countless bottles in the sea, countless bottles lying around, or even in their food later on. So really, with these teeny tiny changes, I know they might be a bit different, okay, especially when you start. But then as soon as you start adopting them into your life, I mean, they start becoming a piece of it, and it's just a no-brainer later on. And better than anything else, you know that you're actually making a difference. So, in a nutshell, that is.
So with the changes that when you made, did you go for big changes right at the very beginning, or did you make little changes and then sort of build up?
Okay, so like I said before, I was always into this world because I understood right away the kind of damage that we're doing. So I said, okay, so if I can actually do something in my teeny tiny Rebecca world, why not? I started out, yeah, I started out simply by repurposing. So, for instance, there were, I don't know, stuff that was going to waste, repurposing it into something else. For example, I started out with shoe boxes. It was so silly. Like, you know, the shoe boxes that you get in the shops, I started repurposing them and using them with my bunny. Because, like, you know, like the rabbits, they like to either play with it or like they love obstacle courses and stuff like that. So I started repurposing that, for example. When it came to plastic, obviously it was a little bit more annoying to repurpose it, especially like plastic bottles and everything like that. But I did really try my best. But then after like realizing that repurposing was okay, useful, obviously, but other changes had to be made. So then I started looking at my house. So at the time I lived with my parents. So I was like, okay, each room, what can I do in each room to change my habits? So for example, it started out with cotton discs in the bathroom, for example, to remove cosmetics, or apply toner, for example. And obviously I found they're like cotton pads, so to say, that after you're done, you can just throw them in the washing machine, bring them back new. So that's just one of the things that I started tapping into. Then, of course, a reusable bottle. I mean, that's pretty much a very basic way to start. I mean, there's lots of ways that you can start. You just have to try.
If you had to pick out your top 5, let's say, things to start with, where would you suggest someone would start?
So a very easy way to start is by trying out your tap filter at home, for example. It's a very easy way to stop carrying those bottles from the supermarket, first of all. Second of all, you wouldn't be harming the environment. And third of all, it's very simple. You don't need any like crazy maintenance that you can do it yourself. Essentially, you don't need those annoying appointments. You can just apply the filter to your tap, and there you go, presto, you've got done water in your glasses, bottles, anything you need. So if you want to start out, I would suggest actually starting from there, and then you can move on to other products as well. But this is a very straightforward way to start, because obviously this kind of thing, you're gonna use it every single day, so there's no bypassing it, so to say. So yeah, I think that's a very easy way to start.
That's nice, and it also saves money as well. So you start with something that actually benefits your pocket as well as the environment, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So all right, that's great. So what about your diet, food, right? How do you manage sustainability and food, and what's your top tricks with that?
So obviously I try not to waste as much. Sometimes it's accidental, these things happen. However, what I do like to do is, as much as possible, try to plan out my week. So for instance, if I'm gonna go shopping and I start planning out my lunches for work, or if I have an off day once a while, never. But basically,
Of course.
yeah. No, who gets an off day? But basically, I like planning out the week and have a good idea of more or less what I'm going to prepare. And usually I have, for example, like a table on my phone, so to say. So like try to plan each and every week so that I can reduce as much as possible the waste. I try to keep my organic bag as close as possible and as much as possible using what I have in the time that I have it. You know what I mean? So basically, like while it's still obviously good, while it's fresh as much as possible. So really reducing that waste.
Do you think it's got easier in Malta to go to find particular shops that support this more than others? Do you think it's
So like
got
the
easier over
sustainability
the
lifestyle, that
past like
is.
5 years?
So the sustainability
Well, has it got
lifestyle.
easier to find shops that don't wrap everything in plastic and give you
Yeah,
plastic bags?
absolutely.
And yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest. Once or twice when I go like either with my produce bag or like with a container, they look at me like, "What is she doing?" But
right.
these things still happen, and I do get the weird side eye once a while. But yes, it's gotten a little bit easier, I would say. I did experience it, absolutely, especially like for example when I help. I don't know, for example, my mom when she used to go and buy like fruit and veg. I remember like one time she came home with all those plastic bags. I'm like, Ma, what the hell? All those plastic bags, where are they going? Like landfills and problems and all that. Like I had a hissy fit. I was going insane. I was like, Ma. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get you a couple of produce bags and you're going to use them, full stop, end of story. So yeah, that's one of the ways that I converted my family.
Yeah,
So yeah.
fantastic. What about transportation? Because you travel quite a lot. I've seen you recently in Krakow, Lille, Sicily, and
Yeah.
I think that was just in the past few weeks, right? So,
Yeah.
um, how do you manage to minimize some of your carbon footprint with transportation?
Okay, so I'm lucky enough to say that yes, I do travel a lot. Basically, most of my savings go there because it's one of my passions to see all these places that I've studied about, that I always dreamt about. But it is one of my primary concerns to be as helpful as possible to the earth. So obviously, I try not to use taxis as much. For example, I try to unless I'm
Right.
in a pickle or something. You know what I mean? Unless I'm in a pickle, I try to use metros, I try to use buses, trains, you know what I mean? Like as much as possible, these public transportations are really, really helpful. And obviously, abroad, they have it a little bit easier because they are more efficient. There are more things there are more applications, more websites to help you, find the website, the transport that you need. So it's much easier. But apart from that, I always used to carry like my travel bottle. But now obviously it's gotten a little bit easier because I don't know if you guys have seen it, but obviously the BottlePro has been absolutely amazing. So
Yes.
yes, let me bring that in.
Well, we'll
So
come on to that in a minute, but yes.
sorry, I couldn't. I love it so
No.
much because, like, whenever I go abroad, I always have this thing like, okay, I know that water is potable abroad, but where? Are there any problems in certain areas? You know what I mean? So I always had this thing, like, always calling at reception, always asking people, like, is the water safe here? So it was
Absolutely.
a very easy way to just, get rid of that problem. You can literally get water from anywhere you want. You've got this bottle that has like a built-in filter. Boom, ready. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I can't say anything more. Like I can't.
No, I've also used it for quite a long time, and when I've travelled, I found it really good. One of the first times I travelled, I took one of these with me, which was the EcoPro Compact, and that was actually quite easy to fit to a tap. But obviously, it's much
Yeah.
bigger, and I still need to carry a bottle. So I always try and minimise my luggage into
Yeah.
something under the seat and that kind of thing. But it's interesting you're using the public transport when you travel, because also when I started doing that more, I also found that I saw more. I saw
Yeah,
more of what I was going to see in the first place,
absolutely.
which was interesting. And I walk a lot as well
Yes.
when I
Isn't
travel.
that nice? Like for me, I
Yes,
adore waking up early in the morning, like with nobody is often just experiencing a city or a village like full on quiet, and then seeing all the people come in and seeing how they interact and everything. So honestly, you miss a lot when you get in a car. Like you wouldn't
right.
believe. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there are these little things like that we can avoid so easily and make such a big difference. It's not just by recycling, it's not just by not buying the plastic wraps for the food, for example. These are day to day things that you can do. Carpooling, another option. Like there are endless options if you actually look for them and try them out. I think the first thing you have to do is just commit to say, okay, I'm just gonna try. And then you'll actually get sucked into this world where you're helping the environment. And that's not even that difficult to do. Like there's no excuses. It's really accessible. Transport is accessible. You can carpool. Most of the cabs nowadays, they even have the carpool option as well. So, I mean, the
That's
opportunities
right.
are
It has
endless.
the infrastructure is definitely sort of trying to help us,
Yes.
and there are plenty of companies that are trying to help us as well. So I think that's interesting. So let's now we touched on transportation. We'll come back hopefully to the Bottle Pro at some point. But I'm quite interested in sustainable fashion
Oh, yeah.
in addition, because we start to read more about landfill waste for clothing and how much is wasted both in production, shipping from the Far East quite a lot, and then
Yeah.
arriving in here. And I've certainly done things in my own clothing journey. I have a much smaller wardrobe now, and both been shoes and clothes. So, what sort of things, when I was your age and trying to be more fashionable, it was a lot. It would be actually, I think it would be quite difficult to be
Yeah.
sustainable. How do you manage that?
Look, in all honesty, when I was growing up, I wasn't as aware of it. So it was really a learning curve for me as well. So, I mean, when you start your sustainability journey, it's not like you're gonna be perfect immediately. So, like we said before, you're going to introduce changes. I'm lucky enough that in my family, we are, a huge family with a bunch of cousins. So we're like, I think 9 in total. I'm throwing a number, but 9 more or less. So I'm lucky enough that I'm one of the youngest and I get a lot of hand-me-downs. And these hand-me-downs, I mean, these stuff, like this stuff, if you take care of it, it's going to last a lifetime. And really, whatever I grew out of, I donate it to somebody else. I donate it to a charity. So really, it just goes around and around. And honestly, this thing of, you know what I mean? Like I've got an event. Oh my God, I need a new dress. Oh my God, I have a wedding. Extra new dress. It's so unhealthy and it's insane. I think it was, if I remember well, it was Emma Watson that said during one of her conferences, it was like, you've got a family to feed, not a community to impress. And she was referencing to clothes. I mean, although that is a different topic, but it is rather related, you know what I mean? So obviously, being fashionable, I completely understand it. I myself, I'm a great lover of fashion, but I don't want to enjoy fashion whilst the earth is suffering, whilst other people are suffering, because it is sadly a reality. But at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know. For me, I just want to get away from it as much as possible. I try to repurpose clothing if I can. So rather than just throwing it away in the trash, ending up in landfills and staying there forever, I try to donate it. I try to pass it on to somebody younger. So those are easy ways to start, I believe.
Yeah, certainly. There are some easy wins you can do, which is always useful, both in whether it's kitchen, bathroom, clothing, transport. There's always some easy wins that once you start with, it kind of like it gets
Yeah.
interesting to try and do more, which I think
Yes,
is interesting. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's like one
Okay.
step at a time.
Okay. So could we talk a little bit about the Bottle Pro there.
Yes.
And maybe you could say what it's like with the bottle. Oh, not me, sorry. Maybe you could say what it's like with the BottlePro, both at home
Okay.
and when you're traveling.
Okay.
So you've got some experience there with both of those things. And also, do you use it for work and things like that?
So yeah, I do use it for work as well, but obviously, like for me, the biggest, like the most useful way to use it for me personally is when I travel. So obviously, like I said before, you're not always guaranteed like that the water is potable. You know what I mean? So this is one of the easiest ways to ensure that what you're drinking is filtered, clean filtered water. I mean, we should show them, right? So basically over here, so obviously this is empty. Whoops. Okay, empty over there. So over here, you've got this filter, right? And basically, once you do fill in your water, you can just fill it in from anywhere, like we were saying before. Just rotate that, and you're done. You can start drinking right ahead. That filter, that built-in filter, is going to just obviously do its work, filter in all the water that you've got inside the bottle, and presto, that's it. You're done. You've got clean water anywhere you go, honestly. For me, it was very easy as well when I had a really long day going around all of Malta, doing campaigns, doing meetings, work, and all that. So it was very easy to just fill it up, let's go, done. It is a very convenient way, like, to avoid buying the plastic bottles, because that was, I suppose, like a very, very easy way to kind of like obviously get your water, but it's a very accessible way, obviously, because they are everywhere. But at the same time, you don't need another bottle in your life, essentially. So that is reducing that kind of waste as well. So obviously, you need the small maintenance, so obviously changing the filter, but that's it. So you don't need to do much more than that. So it's that simple, guys. Just get this and you're done.
That's super. Thank you. When you let's say going out and about in Malta, do you fill it up with filtered water from your EcoPro Compact first, and then take it with you filtered, and then top it up when you're out? Yeah,
Exactly.
I started doing that as well, and I think that's quite useful, because you can just get it filled up anywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like, I don't think there's anything else like it. But like, how do I say? The fact that you can just go out and about, grab this, and you're done. It's amazing, because like, obviously you can get other water bottles, but I mean, you have to find a clean water source every time, and sometimes that might not be as accessible. So you end up having to either buy a water bottle or going to a restaurant, whatever. You know what I mean? But this eliminates a lot of problems, a lot of issues. And I think, like, even especially when you're traveling, for example, obviously you don't have all the time in the world. Sometimes you just have to be like really, really super quick, and you just have to get out in 2 seconds and just taking this with you. You don't have to worry about getting a clean source of water, making sure that the water is actually good for you. So it's that simple.
That's great. The other thing that we do get asked about is, how easy is it to draw the water up through the straw?
Okay. Yeah, so it's very easy. You just have to take like a 45-degree angle. So kind of like this. Wait a minute. Woo. Okay. So obviously, like, I don't have a protractor here, but it's like a 45-degree angle. Done. That's it.
Yeah.
Do not like drink it like you've got one of those water bottles like this. No, because obviously, like, you need the water to kind of go through the filter. So obviously, when you do that, the water goes up, and that won't happen. So really, just a 45-degree angle, and you're sorted. Done.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation. So not more than 45 degrees, and you're just drawing the water up, and it's really easy. And in fact, if you're leaving from Malta from the airport, you can take it empty and then fill it up at the fountains in the airport,
upstairs.
and then you have it for the flight on the way,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. No need to pay for that expensive water, overly expensive water, wait, it has to be expensive because you're drinking it up in the air. So,
That's
oopsie.
it. Saves you €3.50 on a flight
Yeah.
for drinking water on there.
It's ridiculous.
But spend
So
it on coffee instead.
yes. So ridiculous.
So that's great. Thank you for doing that. And if you had a key message for sustainable living for our audience, both at Tap Water and if you're watching from your audience on your channel, what would your like absolute sort of key message be?
Rather than a message, I want to kind of like put in like this little note, so to say. So basically, if you really want to know why you should be doing, why you should be changing your life into a more sustainable one, just look up photos from, I don't know, the 50s, 60s, even earlier. Okay, and you'll see that the world is completely different. And part of that is obviously affected by the number of plastic bottles and the amount of waste that we yield, so to say. So if you look at how the earth was before versus now, that is a very good way to get motivated. And if I had one way to like encapsulate the whole journey, a whole journey starts with a single step. So really, you don't have to take it all at once. Just take one step at a time, look at your lifestyle and see exactly what changes you can do. They don't have to be huge, okay? But you can just start with one simple thing and then just apply it to the rest of your life. The earth will thank you for it. Remember it, guys, there's no planet B.
That's really great. I agree with you. Just small things, all the time, small things.
Yeah.
Because if you try and start from the very end result, then
Yeah.
it's just too big. You're too
Yeah.
big and you give up at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think just like small changes. So we do have some people online. Please remember, if you would like to ask any questions, we don't have any questions at the moment for you. But if you'd like to ask either myself or Rebecca any questions, then just pop them in the comments box and we'll be able to see them. So we've gone through our sort of little list of questions. So now we're still here. Is there anything else that you'd like to sort of go into that we can discuss whilst we're here, whilst we wait for questions?
Yeah, so one of the things that I really have been seeing in the last couple of years, so to say, it all starts with education, this change that you want to do, like to apply to your life. As in, like, you can say, okay, great, yeah, I'm going to be more sustainable, I'm going to be more eco-friendly. Okay, but why? Because most of the time, like we said at the beginning, we hear all this noise all the time about being sustainable, but you should really get into the nitty-gritty of things to understand the impact that, for example, plastic has made throughout these decades. So really just reading and informing yourself, chatting with the right people about these things, you will really learn a whole lot. And I think for me, like for example, me personally, it was a huge motivator to make those changes in my life. Like for example, okay, some things that are in plastic unfortunately are unavoidable, but those things that we can avoid, absolutely. So for example, I don't know, when it comes to taking my lunch at work, in the past, I'm not ashamed to say, because I mean, I've made a change in my life. When I was younger, I used to take, my usual lunch bread or whatever in like, a foil or like a plastic wrap. Nowadays, I wouldn't even dream about it. I've got these wonderful beeswax wraps, or else like the reusable lunch boxes at least. You know what I mean? So this is, I think, what we meant by small changes. Like, it's not going to affect you that much, you know what I mean? It's the same food, it's just a different way of transporting it, and it's much easier and much less costly. You're going to buy that lunchbox just once and you're going to wash it over and over and over again. Same goes for beeswax wraps, for example. I mean, yeah, it all started. I mean, it went from education to like, like applying it to daily life, but really, that's the whole journey. And I think it was a very enriching thing, because not only did I change my way of living, but I'm happy enough to say that I have tried to inspire and motivate other people to do the same. And it all starts with one person, but now I can happily say that four other people, at least in my own family, have done that change as well. So, really, just by learning you yourself, you can help other people to make that change, to make the world a better place for it, and prepare the earth for a, for a younger generation. And it all starts with just one action. Just imagine the ripple effect of that, just starting with one action, sharing that action with those that are close to you, those people that you work with, your friends, family, and then inspiring them to do the same. I mean, it's mind blowing how it worked with my family, and my family were like strict, absolutely not at the first time that I mentioned, and now, ciao, it's all gone. I mean, I'm very happy to say that because they were very against me at the start. Like these youngsters, what do they know? Kind of, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean,
I think one of the difficulty is there's definitely an age group in many
yeah,
countries, in fact, where, and I'm not far, I think I'm close or not far off that age group for sure. But you remember a more sustainable life before plastic because you remember glass milk bottles
yeah.
and returning bottles to stores with drinks in, like even fizzy drinks
I mean, I
or
don't remember
beers.
that, if I'm honest.
No,
I,
but
yeah,
in my age, I remember those. So,
yeah,
like in your family, there are probably people who before plastic came along,
yeah.
were quite happy using glass bottles, but then we get used to something different, and then it's difficult. I think what do you think is next for your sustainability journey? What's one of the challenges that you still need to try and, or you still have at least want to try and, not need to,
Yeah.
but want to try and sort of aim for?
So obviously, here in Malta, we've got a different infrastructure when it comes to public transport and all that. I would love to travel more and more by bus and just as much as possible try to carpool, you know what I mean, instead of just a single ride. Sometimes my very, very busy life gets in the way of doing that because I'm always hopping from one place to the next, and sometimes I have to be super, super efficient. So, unfortunately, I don't have the time to stay, for example, 1 hour on the bus to get to the other side of the island, although it's, 1 hour or 30 minutes, it depends where you're going. But yeah, I would absolutely love to try that more. I am trying. It's just not as simple, unfortunately, especially when it comes to efficiency and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is one of the it's one of the blocks that we have. If we want more sustainable modes of transport, there are investment considerations. There's the change. There's what we already have. It's still working.
Yeah.
And there is actually some interesting research around about making cars last longer that you already have
Yeah.
against suddenly jumping into a different mode of transport that you have to buy and invest in, which then, because it's new, it already has the CO2 emissions wrapped up in it, which take years to work through. So the
Yeah.
savings don't appear for quite a long time. And with the public transport, I mean, I had this dream of being able to go and see all our retailers by bus or by bike. And I can't manage it. So I have to hire a car for a day and go around a group, and I do it like 3 times every 2 months to try and minimize it. But yeah, I had dreams of doing it on a nice cargo bike or a bike. I have an electric bike. So I had dreams of doing it like that. And it's interesting to try and weave that into business because there are some significant challenges with it.
Absolutely.
So, but it's interesting to try and at least think about it.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously these kind of changes, they don't happen like, overnight. It's something that you have to slowly adopt, see how it's gonna work in your life. I mean, I understand that maybe, I don't know, some of the changes are not for everyone. I completely understand because unfortunately, the infrastructures around us have made us believe and have you know, create these experiences for us and really just brainwash us into thinking, okay, this is how. So obviously it's not easy to just dismantle that whole mentality and start afresh, but starting with a single step and just thinking about it, just even trying, I think that's already a lot, you know, like it's better than not recycling well. It's better than just simply buying the next plastic bottle. You know what I mean? It's already better.
Absolutely.
It's already
Yeah.
better. But that like little moral kind of like sting, so to say, like, are you sure you want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, okay, for other people it's just a plastic bottle, but at least for me, for those people who are very much, you know, focused on being more sustainable, it's a whole lot more. And it's not just one plastic bottle. Like, imagine all those plastic bottles going to waste. Oh, Jesus. I can't. So basically, to wrap that all up, it's just thinking about the change that you can make, trying to apply it slowly but surely, and you will get there. And then slowly after that, you start finding other ways to be sustainable and just making it into a way of life.
Cool. Rebecca, I really want to thank you. So if you're watching the recording now, you can follow Rebecca on Rebecca's Lifestyle with the underscore at on Instagram. And if you would like to hit the Tap Water website and want a 20% discount off anything on Tap Water, then or starter packs for water filters in the kitchen and also bottles, then using the code Rebecca's Lifestyle, you will get 20% off. And you can use a link if you can remember that, because that's not a live link there. But tapwater.mt/Rebecca's Lifestyle. That's where you'll find out all about Tap Water and all about Rebecca at Rebecca's Lifestyle with the underscore. And thank you for all the inspiration that you give us with the travel and the clothing and Twinkle as well. The inspirational sustainable rabbit.
Yes. My little
Which is
baby.
great fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
How is she?
So, she's doing a little bit better, but yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you so much.
If anyone's got any questions, put the questions in where you see this video, and then we'll be able to answer them when we see them.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, but wait, we
thank you
had
very
a little
much.
surprise, right? We had a little surprise for them, didn't we? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys haven't stuck around for nothing. So you guys, a little giveaway is coming up on my space in the coming days. So keep an eye out. So I wanted to help you guys kickstart your sustainability journey. And if you watch my space in the coming days, you will get to know very soon what it is. So keep an eye out. Stay tuned.
That's great. Follow Rebecca's Lifestyle underscore up there, and then you will be able to access that giveaway, which will be happening sometime next week, won't it?
Absolutely. Stay tuned, guys.
Good. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.